Tech Cocktail Conversations, candid insights from startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders from around the globe.
I work for a studio in LA called Science, and we make businesses. Yeah, there are misconceptions. I mean, I'll start with describing my kind of take on user experience. User experience is really just a series of layers of things that communicate and support a brand position. And they're things that all work in concert, and they're things like fonts and design, color palettes and grids and interaction styles. And when you kind of munge and copy and when you munge all of this stuff up together, you basically get sort of an overall user experience style that not only supports the brand position, but also supports whatever the business goals are. So you get all that stuff kind of working in harmony, hence your user experience. What I learned was that no matter how passionate you were about keeping all of those things that I just talked about coherent, it was very hard because it's, you end up basically, sort of working with a lot of teams to define all of that stuff, and then 80% of the design process becomes about making sure that everybody kind of adheres to all of that stuff. So it just becomes exponentially harder the bigger the teams, and obviously at places like AOL and MySpace where you have a bunch of people, it becomes tricky. It's pretty simple. I mean, at the highest level, I work with a very small team, and occasionally I'll work with some other people that I've worked with over the years that are in different parts of the world, whether it be for logo work or photography or illustration. And we'll basically start off with a business at Science and get a clear understanding of what their business goals are, who their audience is, and all the sort of nuts and bolts of what they're trying to communicate, and then work closely with them to come up with the best expression for that. And we do it in a very intense, fast pace kind of environment. And then once all of that is I guess ready for whatever the tent pole is, whether it be press or consumer launch, we then set them up for a way to continue to test and evolve and maintain everything that they've created. I think they are. At the beginning of creating a company, it's a very critical stage. Everything that you define at that point, has to kind of carry on, or at least evolve. And there's a cost to changing things later on, kind of a customer experience cost, because once you start to build an audience, that audience does not like change. So I think starting off with as much of the most kind of thought and comprehensive approach to solving it and getting it right, the higher the likelihood of sort of mitigating a bunch of changes down the road, thus making a lot of people unhappy. So yeah, I would say absolutely critical up front. Yeah, because I've been working so hard at Science, kind of have no idea what was going on here with the Downtown Project. I'd heard of things, but I hadn't had a real close look. So this week has been very eye-opening. I feel pretty inspired by what the Downtown Project means. I'm a little jealous because, I think at that stage of newness and inception and creation is just, again, going back to that opportunity to get it right. There's so much opportunity to create it in a way that is unique to the area, despite the sort of perceptions of Las Vegas, despite not having like natural resources and all of the other constraints. There seems to be this sort of undeniable kind of energy to do the right thing, and I was really surprised of all the times I've been to Vegas. I never experienced the non-touristy part of Vegas, and so I'm happy about that, and I'm excited about what you guys are doing. It feels unique. It doesn't feel like anything that I've ever experienced, and I think it's pretty cool. Awesome.